let's start by maybe breaking this dull orange paint with something like a stripe maybe, which goes across the whole land. So I'm going to start by creating a new layer, new fill layer, and we call it signs. And I'll drop it here into the car paint, make it black. And let's go to brush settings, and I'm going to select this basic hard brush. And let's add our line. I'm not going to be super precise, but of course, when working on an actual project, you need to dedicate some time and preferably use stylus, which I don't use right now. So click here, and then if I hold Shift and drag, so again, click here, Shift and drag, you can, draw a straight line just like this. And let's do the same thing here. And we'll have to fix this a little bit. So invert by clicking X. Let's see. Push smaller. So here, Shift drag all the way here. Not sure what happened there. Okay. Same here. I'm gonna do this. That's great. And then, yeah, I think this is good enough. Not perfect, but it works. Let's go on the other side here at the rear part. So I'm just gonna copy this, go to this texture set, paste it in. Of course, I need a new paint. Yeah. And essentially repeat the process. Definitely not perfect, but I think will do. All right, let's add a few more signs. So for that, I'll go to my alphas right over here. And yeah, let's maybe improvise something. I'm just going to use whatever is included in Painter, but of course you can create your own alphas and then just import them. They should be black and white, obviously. So with your brush tool selected, if you click on any of these, that's going to become the tip of your brush. I'm going to turn off mirror, and let's see how it works. Just going to make it bigger. So this is the tip of our brush. As you can see in the properties of the brush on the right-hand side, so you're not going to draw with that. But I only want to stamp it, so I'm just going to stamp it like that. And let's repeat the process a few more times. I'm just going to combine a few of these to get something, fairly interesting. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Maybe add a few, and we'll call it done. Let's see what else do we have. You can always add one of these warning signs. They're quite popular. I don't like it. Something obscure. I guess this works. All right. So that's something on the front side. So we already have our layer here. This is usually my favorite part. It's just fun to play around, to add something kind of interesting, cool, unusual, out of order, Let's maybe add a few more and call it done. Yeah, maybe I just keep it like this. I don't want to overdo it. Potentially fill in this little piece over here. Yeah, I like this. I think this is cool. I'm gonna leave it at this. Now I would like to add even more grunge on top of the whole thing, maybe some rust. So let's go ahead and do that. So I actually have some really nice rust materials which come with Painter. So let's use this fine rust. I'm going to put it right underneath the occlusion. And I'm actually going to create an instance across the whole thing. Maybe not glass and not the interiors. Just whatever is on the exterior of the vehicle, like that. And now it's all covered in rust. Okay, let's create a black mask. And I'm going to use my smart masks to see what we can do. So maybe start with ground dirt. Because I want the rust to come from kind of underneath. And this might be a good start. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Definitely liking it. We need to fine tune it though. So let's see. If I click here on the mask editor and go to properties, and then let's play with these textures. First of all, yeah, I like it better like this. Zoom in. I'm gonna drop the balance significantly. Maybe increase the contrast. Yeah, and this looks way better. I like this a lot. Of course, getting rust on the tires is kind of unrealistic. So I'll go in there, and there's the instance that I'm using for the tires. So add not necessarily a black mask, but a white mask, and going to remove the tires from the mask. Yeah, like that. It's better. And since we are here, I'll go to the tires, select that material, and I'm going to go and change the age. So I've changed the age significantly and the roughness as well. So this looks a bit better. And actually, we can go to our smart materials, and if I remember correctly, there should be, a smart material which is specifically made for tires. So we might as well try that one. Just going to drop it inside of this. Yeah, as you can see, it even has some nice mud, which is, scattered across. So might as well just use that one. I think it looks great. Over here, the rust is coming in too heavy, I feel. So we can definitely fine tune that. So I'm actually going to create another white mask. And once again, I'm going to go to my smart masks. And pretty much can use the same mask on top of the one we are already using. But here I'm actually going to drop down balance, increase contrast, drop down contrast, and drop down balance. It's all about playing to see what works for you, I feel like this is probably okay. Let's see what this does. We can also invert. So, yeah. I can also try adding levels here on top of the mask. And so now levels are actually going to control, they're going to affect everything underneath, right? So again, similarity with Photoshop are pretty obvious here. Okay, this I think looks pretty good. Now I can go back to my rust material and see if we want to add something else. We can change something like the height position. So now it's really visible. It's really affecting the overall look of the vehicle. But yeah, maybe just keep it like this because it's too intense. Also want to change the color of this mechanism at the top. And maybe we can add a few signs, over here as well. So let's go ahead and add material. You can also use this chrome and just add another paint, another paint layer here, and then pretty much use the same technique with using brush and alphas. Turn off masking, and yeah, do it like this. Can rotate the stamp like that. And I'll call it done. From here, we're going to jump into Substance Stager and start rendering our scene. Before we go into Adobe Substance Stager, there's one more thing that I want to show you. So far, we have been working with so-called fill layers. So when you're using a fill layer, for instance, if you drag one of these, ready-made materials on top of your object, this is going to create a fill layer, which is going to fill the entire UV map. However, you are able to create just a simple layer. So here in the layer stack, you're able to create just a simple layer. And this allows you to paint freely on top of your object. So for instance, I'm able to pick one of these objects like so, and then I can freely paint, inside of that layer. I'm not going to use paintbrush and paint, but rather I want to show you something else. Let's call this layer something like hard surface, because I would like to add a normal map detail, and I would like this to be inside of the car paint group. I'm going to put it underneath the existing paint fill layer as so. And so now let's go to properties. And as you can see, this is the material that I have chose to paint on top of this simple layer. And I actually do not need color, metal, rough, none of that. The only thing that I do need is normal map, because that's what I want to add. I want to add a normal map detail. And so you can import your own normal map details, of course, or rather your normal map textures. But I'm just going to go with whatever exists here in Substance Painter. So I'll go here into textures, and let's try to find something that may work well. So let's see, plenty of textures here. And I'm searching for maybe something like this vent, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this and use it as a texture here in the normal map channel. So now you can actually paint. This is your paintbrush, and it became stencil. But I don't want to use it that way. I only want to stamp it somewhere and add that normal map detail. So I'm going to change the alpha of this brush. So let's see, I'm just going to use this full square. So this is going to give me, the just the texture map that I'm using without any kind of opacity, which was the case before because I had a smooth brush selected. And let's make it bigger, maybe something like this. And I'm going to add this detail right over here. And so this looks great. But what I really want is for this steel, which is under the paint, to kind of appear on the edges of this normal detail. So as you can see now, even though this is not geometry, but I do have, some, illusion of edges where this vent exists. So I would like this mask generator to take into the account that normal map detail. So how do we do that? We can do something like this using so-called anchor points. So I'm going to go to right mouse button and add anchor point, just like that. And maybe let's call it vent, like this. And so the only thing that I need to do right now is I need to activate this anchor point here in the mask builder of this fill layer. And this is gonna, kind of drive the mask to take the normal map detail into account. All right, so I'm gonna go here, select this mask, and right over here in micro normal, I'm gonna click here, go to anchor points, and this is our vent anchor point. So I'm gonna select this thing. Nothing happened because we need to do a few more things. First of all, I want the reference channel to be not the base color, but normal map. Normal map. And there you go. Now you can immediately see how the mask generator is, now working correctly using this normal texture as an input. And if I scroll over here in micro details, you see that the micro normal is set to true. And so I can adjust something like the curvature intensity, high details intensity. So even ambient occlusion radius. So if I zoom in really close, you can adjust the ambient occlusion, even the depth. And so this is extremely useful as you can see. And so now, since we have this anchor point set, we can continue adding details. So if I click here, let's maybe replace this with something else. So use a different normal map. Which shall we use? Doesn't really matter. Let's maybe add a detail over here. If I click on the control, I can zoom this in and out with right mouse button. And also if I click left mouse button and go up and down, I can rotate this stencil. And then just stamp it over here. And you can see that, the mask builder works perfect. Maybe add a few more, just for fun. Let's see. Maybe a little detail like that. Somewhere over here, make it smaller. Probably too much. All right. And I think now we're finally ready to go to Adobe Substance Stager. So once you're ready with your textures, it's time to export them. So I'll go to File, and you can go to Export Textures. all of our texture sets are here, and you can set up the output resolution for each one of these texture sets. So for instance, what I can do, I can just go here and then set up to maybe 4K. And that's the global setting, but you can individually set up the resolution for each one of them. And Substance Painter is telling you which textures are actually going to be exported. So in the global settings, output template, you have a lot of different presets. So let's say that you want to render this in Maya with Arnold, then you can set up that preset. So you can use AI standard shader, Corona, Keyshot, then RenderMan. You can go to Unity, any one of those. But here, I actually want something different. I want to go to Adobe Substance Stager. So there's a very convenient way for you to push both the 3D model and all of the textures, which are going to come in pre-connected in Adobe Substance Stager. So the only thing I need to do is I can go here on the left-hand side, and I can say send to Substance 3D Stager. And so our vehicle has been successfully imported in Substance Stager. So we have all the geometry and all the textures which came in pre-connected to their meshes. So if you remember, we have around 10 texture sets, and each texture set has a dedicated mesh. So each one of these meshes has a material, and each material corresponds to one texture set. So very convenient thing here about, being able to send from Painter to Stager is that we don't have to worry about pre-connecting all of these textures. So we're talking about, a few dozen textures, so probably 40 or 50 textures, which we would have to manually reconnect. So that's something we don't have to worry about.